Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy. Today we're going to talk about Cahokia Phoenix, a social tech and art space, and it's an Indigenous-led, woman-owned platform for creative placekeeping and placemaking. This is also named the best place to find an emerging artist in Phoenix Magazine and the best cultural festival by Phoenix New Times. On the phone today to tell us more is Unique Yazzie. She's a design consultant, a creative director, social entrepreneur, and the owner of Cahokia Phoenix. Unique, welcome to Native Talk Arizona.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. I'm glad to be here.
Super excited to hear what you guys are doing. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you ended up at Cahokia Phoenix.
I am from Canyon de Chelly, which is a rural community on the Navajo Nation in northern Arizona. I grew up there, and my clans are Nanisht Eja Touchitni, Maideshkijni, Kiaani, and Torachitni. And a lot of my values and my core principles of how I, run my business and how I lead my life and how I make decisions in aligning values and in goals really came from my experience in growing up on the Navajo Nation. I moved off the res to begin a career in design and worked in the corporate design setting within creative and IT departments for at least 25 years now. I started my first business in 2008 and then been acting on my creative ideas all along the way. So I've been really, really privileged to be able to step into places and bring creative ideas to the forefront and actually design from them from the moment I left the reservation. So I'm really proud of that.
So tell us about Cahokia Phoenix, the name, your mission, what it is you do, all of that.
So we are an Indigenous-led, women-owned platform for creative placekeeping. A lot of people don't really know what that term is, and it's something that I grabbed onto when I first heard it back in my earlier entrepreneurial days. A lot of the, work and the conversations and the questions that we started talking about when I sat down with others who were either like-minded or starting their own business or within the creative field or within the design field or even within like services and consulting fields is what would it look like if we had an actual place for Indigenous perspective, entrepreneurial ideation, and the exploration of collaborative social impact projects. And for me, being a social entrepreneur, a lot of the things and a lot of the projects that I wanted to work on, I wanted to be able to impact my own communities. Because I've worked in corporate America for 25 years, a lot of those skill sets and a lot of those work ethics and the projects I was working for was for corporate America or for profit, right? So Cahokia and the name itself came from a lot of discussions, a lot of, I call them talking circles now, but the name refers to and is dedicated to the spirit of Cahokia, which was a real place and time that was the largest pre-Columbian urban center north of Mexico. It's located in present-day southwestern Illinois, and at its peak, it was around, 1100 CE, supported a population of about 10,000 to 20,000 people, and it was about the size of London during that time. So when you think of urban centers like pre-colonial, it really creates this different perspective of how Indigenous people gathered, came together, and created such central places for trade networks and just the economic trade routes that existed across the Americas. Cahokia served as a gathering point for these diverse trade routes of goods and ideas. And as a social enterprise, we wanted to focus on uplifting communities through innovative solutions. We wanted to bring that spirit to life in the modern 21st century. When we're doing social, organization and social projects and things that we really want to create impact within our communities, it's awesome to be able to sit down with people who have those same goals and you start imagining things together. So we're a place that is dedicated to that direction. We also lean into cultural empowerment. Our collective of artists, designers, and social entrepreneurs merge the indigenocracy ideas and principles with innovative projects to create a lasting impact through dynamic pop-ups, art installations, and gallery exhibitions. So for the last 5 years, we've organized, you had mentioned the Indigenous Peoples Day Phoenix Festival, and we've also done collaborations and directly impact over 1,000 creative entrepreneurs through contracts, partnerships, and paid collaborations. We basically created an economic, dynamic, cyclical process for our Indigenous creatives that equals to almost $1 million. And for 5 years, that really says like that there is a place here, there's a marketplace here, and that creatives can be the engine of that.
Wow, $1 million. That's very impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I know you're starting to do some more things with Arizona Center. And can you tell us a little bit about that one? Where is Arizona Center? What are you doing with them? What is it going to look like in the future? What are you all planning? Anything you can chat about that and tell us about?
Yeah, so our partnership with the Arizona Center is based on a dynamic nature almost. It's like we are in the mission to create culture and do it through place keeping events. They share access to space, the space that they do have or that they're waiting to lease out. We're able to step in and really fully activate those spaces in artistic and creative ways. We have a multi-year collaboration with them, and we try and connect them with other Indigenous entrepreneurs, Native entrepreneurs, and just really be able to implement Indigenous businesses into major shopping centers like the Arizona Center. They are a locally owned, family owned, and community invested company whose staff and employees have welcomed us from the get-go, and they meet our ideas with like eagerness, support, commitment. It's just one of those relationships where you realize that we have the same vision, we have the same goal, and how do we work together to bring these ideas to life? I think when we think about Arizona Center, we want to be able to activate spaces just like that. We want to be able to make those partnerships and really begin to grow the Indigenous visibility in retail centers, shopping centers, people that go to have fun, create events, and also shop. Those are the things that I think our partnership is most strong at. We have also been able to partner with them in small things, connecting with community leaders in the downtown metro area, within the Roosevelt Row area, and others who are also trying to partner with Indigenous people. So it just makes for a really good collaboration. We'll just continue to work on that collaboration going forward. And I know that they're bringing in a lot more arts activated events and markets to their spaces. So I'm excited to see how that unfolds in the ways that we are connecting.
Well, and it's such a great location. It's centrally located, nice parking garage, great space, and that they're willing and that they're interested and they're partnering with you. So are you thinking that you're going to have some pretty exciting events for the fall? Or can you not?
Yeah.
Still planning?
So Cahokia, in this iteration, we are in a transformation and evolution mode. As you know, I'm a designer, I'm a creative director, I'm also a system analysis IT professional. And so I have my own little bucket of things I love to do. And Cahokia for me was really a community project that invested those solution-minded ideas, and for me, the ability to collaborate with others to get to A to B to C and really think about those things. So now that Cahokia is in a lull after our 5-year lease, I really see Cahokia becoming mobile, being able to reach the rural communities as well as other urban spaces and really share the ideas that we've been able to grow and plant and seed within our own community, and be able to stretch that farther out and bring artists with us and be able to cross-pollinate communities across the region. I do see the need for that. I do see Cahokia being something that is still a collective force. But I do think I need to take a little bit of a reflection moment, a back seat, and think about all of the changes that we've been able to create, the impact that we've been able to create, and really fold out that story in a way that better aligns with our next chapter. And so for the upcoming fall, I'm thinking that, we're already in the talks of working with the City of Scottsdale Arts Programming for the Canal Convergence. The City of Tempe wants to collaborate with us on a projection that will be on the Mill Towers. We also have a few other cities that are tapping into us. And so just being really able to be mobile allows us to kind of spread that amazing work that the artists do and the designers do and just the collaboratives do when they come together. So we're excited about that. We will be at the Suduvaki Museum for Indigenous Peoples Day. So that's going to be fun. We're going to have an exhibition and art installation. And then we are looking at our next upcoming long span of an installation at the Chico Gallery, which is at the Arizona Center. So we have all kinds of things in our wheelhouse and open to a lot more collaborations. But for now, I'm definitely just kind of, taking a breath after the 5 years of hustling and like creating the space and being able to complete something like that. I want to make this next chapter good.
That is awesome. All right. So if people want to get involved, so are you looking for, I'm not sure of your corporate structure, but do you look for board members or volunteers or artists? What kind of help or engagement are you looking for?
So I have an advisory council, and I'm consistently looking for really strong professionals that are really diverse in their skill sets, but also want to support community initiatives. And so advisory council opportunities are always available. I do look for volunteers. Right now we're looking for artist workshop facilitators for some of our programming. And I just think it's amazing to be able to call on the network that we've already created and to be able to pull them into the next chapter and the next thing that we'll be creating and collaborating with as we move forward. So we're always going to be posting on our Instagram channels and our social media channels for any needs that we'll need in the future. But if you want to connect with us, you can connect with us at Cahokia PHX on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. Or me, myself, which is Unique LLC on those same platforms. And then, of course, our websites, cahokiaphx.com and uniquedesign.com.
Okay, can you spell, because you beat me to the question about how can they get more information, how do you spell Unique so they can find you?
Yeah, so Unique is spelled EUNIQUE.
And so one more time, your platforms and your handles?
Yeah, so my platforms are Unique LLC, and that is for my personal creative platform. And then Cahokia's is Cahokia PHX.
Okay. Awesome. And you said Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, correct?
Yes.
That's awesome. I think you have done such an amazing job. The $1 million is just incredible. And I encourage our listeners to check it out, get in contact with you, see how they can get involved. And I can't wait to hear what your next chapter is. And I'm sure it's going to be something amazing.
Great. Thank you so much for the invite. Glad we could talk.
Thank you.
Coming up next on Native Talk Arizona, host Susan Levy chats with award-winning Native American singer-songwriter Annie Humphrey. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 8800 North 22nd Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue, near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. And Native Health provides primary medical services at the new Guadalupe Health Center, 6725 South Priest Drive in Guadalupe. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, Native Health's Native American Cultural Affairs program, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy, and on the phone today with us is Annie Humphrey. She's an award-winning Native American singer and songwriter, born and raised in the Ojibwe Indian Reservation in Minnesota. Annie, welcome to Native Talk Arizona.
Thank you, Susan.
I am so excited. I've listened to your music, and I've read up on you, and I think you have done so many really amazing things. But before we get started on the interview, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you ended up where you are today.
Gosh, that's such a big question, but
My
background is I did grow up on the Leech Lake Reservation, and I lived there all my life until I turned 23, at which point I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, and I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I came back out, had 2 young children, pretty close together. I had my babies, my first 2 babies, and we were on welfare, right, with the food stamps and stuff back in the day, and we were living on $394 a month and food stamps. And at the time, my little apartment was $290, and then the welfare in the mid 90s, there was welfare reform going to happen, and I kind of panicked, so they're trying to get women back into the workplace, and they're going to start sanctioning, all the benefits that I was getting. So I didn't want to put my kids in childcare, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And all I could think of was I could go try to sing at a coffee house. So with my 2 young children, one was in the infant carrier and Justice was 2, I went to my first coffee house audition where they were going to pay me $40 a night plus tips. And that's kind of that's the music part of how I started playing music.
Wow. And how was your first night at the coffee house? Successful, I assume?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was, and it was long, and they let me be like a regular, and they gave me like a monthly gig. And then it was kind of in a university town, and I guess someone heard, they kind of caught wind of it, came to the show, and then I got a gig at the college for the Native Students Association, and they paid me $150. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, this is amazing. So, that's how it really started, just out of necessity to provide for my kids.
Wow, and look where you are today. And look at all the things that you've done from that coffee house.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. All right, so that's how you got started with your music. How about your artwork? And I know that you're really interested in, I would say, community building or activism and storytelling. So tell us a little bit how you got started. So how did you jump off from your music into the storytelling, into the art, and then community activism or building community?
Right. So I think the music and storytelling go together, because sometimes my mom would tell me, you talk too much. When you're supposed to be playing music, you talk too much. Because I really do talk a lot about things that I view in society, things that I think in each human being, that we should be recognizing our own power and thinking for ourselves. Much like, my mentor was John Trudell, and those are the things he always talked about. Those are the things that in his last days he was talking about, is people using their own intelligence. And I think if society, could do that, I just think empowerment is super important in each human being instead of fighting issues. So activism was a big thing. I was a protest musician for many, many years. And then I learned that it was just fighting individual issues is time and energy consuming. And so it wasn't, like 2 years ago, I helped form a nonprofit called Fire in the Village. And the co-director was also like heavy activism, going out and leaving home to go and try to take a stand for things, and that's what I was doing. And I just think that we both decided we would move away from that kind of thing and focus on art, human expression, empowering human beings, one at a time through art. And I hope I answered your whole question.
You did. Actually, I was just thinking when you were talking about this, when you're talking about the music and the storytelling and the activism, when you started your first night singing in the coffee house, what did you sing? Was it like covers, or was it, I don't know, something original, or call
Yeah.
to
No,
action?
it was no, it was just all covers. I was just learning and doing all covers. But when I was actually, I'm going to tell you one more story about how this really did start for me. When I was 19 years old, I was invited to play at a American Indian Movement anniversary concert in Minneapolis, and I was playing music with this guy who played guitar. I played piano. We both sang, and it was our turn to go on stage. And before that, I was singing bar bands, just drinking and playing in bars. But that night, he kind of fooled me, and he kind of pushed me out on stage and did not follow me, and I was by myself. And that was the first time that I played in front of people who were sitting in chairs, focusing and listening. That was the first time, and I remember that night because I decided that that's what I wanted. And I also, in '85, the documentary Rattle and Hum with U2 came out, and I thought that was amazing. That Bono and them were using their music in ways that were not just like rock star attitude. They were doing things and speaking of Ireland and their hardships there. I just thought that was amazing.
Good inspiration. You too. I like them also. So you're now focusing on art. Do you have one thing that you find most important or enjoyable that you do? It sounds like you've shifted from art or from music more to art, or is it both still that you find are most important and enjoyable? I know you said with art that, expression and things like that. What would be your answer for that one?
Well, I still do music, and when people ask for a bio, the bio is usually something like I make jingle dresses for the women in my family. I go ricing, and during the rice harvest, I tap trees and deep in the woods. I'm a grandma, and so I put even the art and the music are just in that mix, so everything is important. And I do art. I even try to write songs in between everything else. So it's I'm going to be 60, so it's hard to say what is more. You know what I mean? There's just so much now that I do and am part of and contribute to and boss of, and yeah, it all it's kind of like when people talk about culture and spirituality, it's hard to find that line. It's all blurred. So my lines are all blurry, Susan. They're all blurry.
Okay, but you're an amazing human being and an amazing woman with lots of parts and lots of pieces and lots of good stories and things that you do. So I think that's probably the most important. You mentioned being a grandma and your birthday coming up and all the things that you've done and that you do, and the rice and the jingle dresses, and that's all part of who you are. So I think that's a good
Yeah.
story. Okay, so you've been playing music for a while, but you never really said how you got interested in music. Was it something growing up, or was it when you were raising your kids when they were little, or when they were born and you were listening to music and you would sing in the kitchen, or how did that happen?
It happened, my cousin was taking piano lessons, and I was at her house one day, and she started playing her lesson songs, and I'm talking like kindergarten, and I copied them, and then I went home, and a short time later, and so I was really, really little, so I'm talking 6 or 7 years old, and my father worked at the Indian hospital across the street, and we had doctors that would. You ever heard Northern Exposure? Like Joel Fleischman had to come work in Alaska as a doctor to pay off his debt to the government. So our IHS had those kind of doctors come in, and one of our doctors owned a big old upright piano, and they were moving to their next duty station, and they gave us their piano. This big upright monster piano ended up in our living room, and I started mimicking what I heard on TV, and I started. That I think is the year when the piano came into my house, when I started just sitting on the bench and playing things. And so I'd never learned to read music, and I yeah, that's where it started. Plus, my father, he played acoustic guitar. He was a singer, so I played a little guitar when I was big enough to hold one of them. But that's where physically the music started. And as far as songwriting, when you're a kid, you can't really articulate anything deep. So songwriting for me, meaningful songwriting started, I think, after I got out of the Marine Corps, had my kids, and I started getting involved in activist stuff, because that's what my mother did. My mother was an activist, and she's still alive, but she just she's not active like that anymore.
Wow, what an amazing story, the piano and sitting there. But obviously you were interested in music. I know when I was that age, I wasn't interested in music, and I'm not even sure if I had a piano in my living room if I would have done anything. So I think that's really a cool story. I know that you've got some albums out, so like Eat What You Kill and The Beast in the Garden. Those are a couple, and the albums that you've got. How did you come up with those names and the names of the songs in each of those albums?
I think what I do is if I come up with a cool line, like Eat What You Kill was pretty cool. And the album is a little bit dark. The album cover is a little bit dark. I swear in it. I'm a little bit angry. That was like 2016-ish. And I think I try to find a cool title, and that becomes the title of the whole CD, whatever the coolest title of a song is. But as for coming up with them, I usually pick, I think most people just pick out the most thought-provoking phrase out of the song and make it the title. And for record album titles, well, The Beast in the Garden came from a conversation with John Trudell. We were in New York City, and Clinton was just going out of office, and so there was a push to free Peltier. And a whole bunch of us, showed up in New York, and we did a march. And so John was there, and I remember one night we were talking, and he was carrying around this book. I remember I said, John, do you ever just want to think about anything else? Do you ever get tired of reading and talking and thinking about this stuff? Do you ever think about just taking care of the tomatoes in your garden? And he didn't miss a beat. He leaned forward and he said, you take care of the tomatoes, and I'll keep the beast out of your garden. So in that moment, I remember thinking, too, that that's where the title of that record came from. But also in that moment, I realized that you got to have someone guarding the perimeter of your garden so you can take care of tomatoes. You need those people. But you need people, taking care of the tomatoes so the people guarding the gate have something to guard, So everybody has a job. So I make that clear, too. I'm not down on activism or protesting. It's just like, that's not where I'm at right now. But we all have something we can do.
And that is true. And that is true that everybody does have a job and everybody plays a role. So I totally agree with what you're saying. So how long does it typically take you to write music? And are you still writing today? But is it a long process? If you're writing a song, does it take, 2 hours, or does it take 6 months?
I think it takes all my life, because you have to live to write about what you're writing about. And like I said, when you're young, you can't really talk about a lot because you haven't experienced a lot. So I really think the things I write about have been brewing for 30 years. But I do still write. I'm recording right now. I'm in the middle of recording a new album, and I didn't talk about The Light in My Bones, which is an album that you hadn't mentioned yet. So after Eat What You Kill, I recorded an album called The Light in My Bones. And that one is the most recent, but now I'm working on another one. And I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet. I had an idea, but now I can't remember what it is. But now I forgot your question too.
Okay, so tell me about Light in Your Bones since I didn't ask you that. Or yeah. So what is that one about, and what does that mean? Light in Your Bones.
Oh, so there's a word for wisdom in Ojibwe in our language, and I can't say that word right now because I can't remember that either. But the word for wisdom translates in English to the light in my bones. I just thought that was so grand. And the cover of the record, I am at my sugar camp, my maple sugar camp, squatting with a dish and I'm eating with my fingers. And people are like, why would you make that your album cover? And I tell them, because, man, it's my wisdom. In the background is our boiling shack where we build the roof with leverage, no nails, no fasteners, something my father taught me, his father taught him, that kind of wisdom. And I'm squatting. We don't need chairs in the woods. I'm eating with my fingers because we don't have a fork, but what I'm eating is wild rice that my family harvested. So I'm like, this whole cover is the light in my bones, man. That's why. Not very flattering, but that's what it is.
That is pretty cool.
Oh, and what it's about. I'm sorry, Susan.
No.
And then the content, the songs just come from my writing period. You know what I mean? It's not a concentration on any subject. So the songs in that record are from that period, just the period between, and I can't remember what's happening in my life at that time, but yeah, they're just writing periods. And I think one of the songs that I really like on that record is called, well, John Trudeau is in that one. He opens the record. His voice is the first song called We Are Power. And I guess if I had to pick a theme for it, it would be power, your own power. I think that's so important. So, but one of the good songs that are important to me is called Is It Okay? And I was in therapy during COVID just because our tribal college offered it for free. But they matched me up with a therapist who was also a sax player. And this guy would talk about music for like the first half of my session. And so I maybe he thought my therapy could be talk about music, but I didn't want to. So I quit my therapy and wrote this song, Is It Okay?
Is it okay if my hair is tangled up and getting gray? Is it okay if I don't moisturize the wrinkles round my eyes? Is it okay if I say I've never sinned? Is it okay that I draw stories in my skin? Is it okay if I swear a lot when I speak? Is it okay that I got bunions on my feet? Is it okay if I'm in therapy? Is it okay if I write a song all about me? I say it's my loves that weigh me down. And I wouldn't give up a single pound of the heartbreak that's come and gone, and the heartache that is sure to come. Because I love, because I love, because I love.
You have such an amazing story, and you are such an amazing storyteller.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, just enthralling. I don't know. All right, I want to ask you a little bit about your art. So you've been talking about doing some art as well. What kind of art? Are you painting? Are you sculpture? Or is there something that's not so traditional?
I am painting. I painted a mural at our powwow grounds in Ball Club. I mean, not me, with a whole bunch of, like, I think there were like 78 kids involved. But the mural is in panel sections, big panel sections, so I could haul them around, you know what I mean? So I would take a panel to Battle Point, like another side of the reservation, and paint with kids there. And I'd take panels to, you know what I mean? So I was hauling these pieces. It was really a pain, but it is really cool. It's a big collaborative project. So our powwow grounds have murals all over the front of the MC stand, the elder stands, you know, that kind of thing. Right now, I'm starting up in the Village of Ball Club, is on my end of the res where I live. We are starting the first horizontal mural on a basketball court. It's just really cool stuff. And also I needed, you know, I've been doing fashion from thrifted, pre-owned textiles, and I ran a fashion show all year last year about women in a village. So there was like a chief, there was a scout who'd go off and like I'm talking, this is like badass women in a village living together, and they each had these roles, and I made clothing for these roles. And there's like a seed saver, someone who would go out and collect seeds, a medicine woman who made the salves and tinctures and tea and help people get well, a peacekeeper who was like the judge, who would like mediator, that kind of woman. And they're all dressed in these clothes. And so that was really the statement I was trying to illustrate, is that we used to have a different kind of economy where people of the village had different skills. So now you got some people trying to learn everything. They want to know how to tan hides and make baskets and make canoes, and they want to learn it all. But in a village, one family was probably better at canoe building, and one family did the hide tanning, and one family knew the medicine, so that we needed each other to live together, to help one another, and share knowledge and skills. Now, we don't do that much anymore. They call it mutual aid now, but I think if we could get back to that, we all belong to circles of people, whether it's our work environment, our friends, our drinking buddy, I don't care, whatever circles, and we all have a lot of them. If we started sharing resources, so now we start looking in our multiple circles. Like if one circle, someone says, my brakes went on my car, I can't afford to fix it, I don't know what I'm going to do. You could say, oh, you know, over in this circle I belong to, there's a mechanic, so you can connect your own little network to help one another, and then we can meet each other's needs without any American dollars, maybe.
That is so true. I want to go back and again ask about your art. So I know you've said you're going to do the first horizontal one on the basketball, but do you do any smaller pieces, or are you not interested in that? Like doing a small painting that you would either keep in your home or give to somebody or eventually sell, or is that just too commercialized for you?
That is kind of commercialized.
Okay.
I think
That's what I thought.
Another thing, I think paintings that hang on the wall have no function. So, you know, I think making jingle dresses is an art.
Yeah.
And that they're important. They're the healing dress. And so I make them for little girls. And, you know, I've made 3 for one little girl as she grows. My niece, I make them my niece who's now grown up, I made hers as she grew. So it's art, but it's also honor. And it is really amazing seeing, and I do beadwork, and seeing dresses that have been given away and passed on out in the powwow ring. We had ball club powwow last week, and I'm like, I made that dress. Oh, and that dress too, and I made that dress. And that little girl's wearing my little first Copenhagen dress. And I tell my kids, when I pass away, I want you to, in our powwow, have everyone go out and dance who's wearing any beadwork or any dress I've ever made. And I think that would be a really cool way to honor me after I'm gone.
How long does it take you to make a jingle dress?
If I push hard, I can do one in a weekend. Little girl dresses I can do in a couple of days. If it's a woman's dress, there's more jingles to turn, more ribbon work,
There's hundreds of jingles, right, on a dress?
Oh, God.
At least? Hundreds?
Yeah. Yeah, like 250 on a woman's dress on average. But so I've also gone to school and made dresses with girls. It's grueling because you got 5 girls on the sewing machine. They're not sure how to do it, and I don't do it often, but I think it's important for a girl who wants a jingle dress to have one.
But that's so important to pass all of that on and to teach them. I mean, I know you said it's grueling to have 5 girls that you're teaching, but where else would they get that opportunity? And somebody who has the experience, the knowledge, the patience, and expertise.
Right. Well, I like to think I'm patient.
Well, I mean, you must be. Yeah. But, I mean, and you're right. I mean, what an honor to have people wear your things and to pass them on and to pass the history and the culture. And you are an amazing woman. I mean, really, it's really interesting to listen to you and your story, everything from the Marine Corps to where you are now and what you're doing. And, all the music that you've got on different platforms and streaming and that you're still doing it and that you're painting and making clothing. I don't know. I think you sound like an amazingly interesting woman and accomplished.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do you do any touring? Are you still touring?
I do. With the nonprofit, we do go on tour. We do a music tour usually in summer and fall, early summer. So in June we went out, and the name of this tour, and I think I'll stick with this name, is the Magical Fry Bread Drive-In. I read the book called The Legendary Fry Bread Drive-In, and what we do is kind of recreate the atmosphere of getting together and having fun, and there's always fry bread, and people ask me, why fry bread? All of our tribes have a version of fry bread, and fry bread is a sign of resilience. It's a sign that we outlasted them. We got moved off our homelands and put on reservations, given rations and fry bread. And I hope that in the hard times we're in now that we find a fry bread. Don't know what it is yet, but I hope we find it.
It will be found.
Yeah.
When will you be releasing the album that you're working on now? Any idea?
I'm going to finish recording the songs on August 11th, and it usually takes a while for the guy to mix, the producer guy to mix it. Probably give him another couple of months. So August, September, October, November, December, January. Probably be next in the new year, January, February.
Okay. And as you're talking, I know you're up north, and I know this wasn't one of the questions that I had mentioned I was going to ask. I imagine it being, I've not been in the part of the country where you live. I imagine that it's absolutely beautiful, and it's still green because it's summer, but it will be fall soon, correct? In August or September?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you start fall a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah, we start, fall is probably mid-September. We still have one more outdoor powwow at the end of September, and the leaves start changing, and actually the rice harvest starts at the end of summer, and it ends when the days start getting cool, like the nights, and then after that we net fish. There's always something to do.
Wow, what a beautiful place to live. We're in the Southwest, and we're generally at least 100 through at least Halloween. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Pretty hot and pretty
Yeah,
uncomfortable. But yeah. All right, so I want to ask, what do you do to take care of yourself? I mean, self-care, what do you enjoy? What do you do in your downtime? Doesn't sound like you have much downtime.
I kind of don't, but because I love what I do, I just love all of it. But for myself, when I wake up, I have every morning I have these affirmations I do, and then I studied yoga, so I do yoga, and I ride my horse, and those are things that only I do. I make people leave me alone. If I'm doing yoga, my kids, my grandkids know, leave me alone until I'm done. And, riding a horse, you do it alone. It's just between you and the horse. And that is really, it just really feeds me,
What an amazing life. It sounds so full and beautiful, and you're doing all kinds of great things.
It is full, yeah.
All right, so what are your future plans? So you've got the album coming out in the new year, and what else are you thinking that you're going to do?
I am thinking of kind of switching from a stage performer to like a university college lecturer. And I think that it's not because I'm getting older, I shouldn't say that. It's because I do want to reach that population of young people. Like the Fire in the Village, we visit middle schools and we do printmaking and we, hang out with kids. And it's kind of like we're just trying to have conversations that maybe they don't have as often about themselves. And again, empowerment. And so this shift to becoming a college university lecturer, I wouldn't change anything I do. I would still bring a piano. I would still sing. But like my mom said, I talk a lot. And so I would just not change what I do. I would just change my setting into a lecturing auditorium and try to talk to those young people that are about to jump off into the big world with their fire still lit.
Very cool. So Annie, it has been truly a pleasure. I think I've really enjoyed this interview and listening to you, and you have a very calm demeanor and presence and genuine. So I've really, really enjoyed this a lot. But how can our listeners find more information about your music, your work, your programs, your activism, your painting, your clothing, your beading, your jingle dresses, and everything else? And how can they contact you?
Well,
that's a lot.
Susan, thank you. This was really fun talking. It didn't feel like an interview at all. I can be reached at AnnieHumphreyMusic@gmail.com. I mean directly, Annie Humphrey Music, all one word, no caps, @gmail.com. I check my own mail. Music platforms that music is available on, like you can hear it on Spotify, all that stuff, but also you can purchase it at bandcamp.com. And I don't have a price, so we don't talk about that. It's like whatever, because I can't stand capitalism. And as far as I know, that's the only place I can Bandcamp. Yeah, so I don't have Facebook, and I'm not very good on a computer. So
and you do have a website.
But it's so old. Actually, I'm getting it updated in 2 weeks. So people should go to AnnieHumphreyMusic.com. Just give me a couple of weeks to get it freshened up. And then, but the projects and the things that I'm working on as far as community building and art is with the nonprofit called Fire in the Village. And if you check out our website at fireinthevillage.org, you'll just see all the stuff that we've been doing for the past couple years that we've been in existence. And I think we have photos of my fashion shows and also upcoming events and projects.
And I encourage people to check the music out. I've really enjoyed it. And I also found it on iTunes and everything else. So,
okay.
And I listened to it on your website, and I saw some YouTubes and all kinds of stuff. So really, I've really, really enjoyed this, Annie, and I wish you the best of luck. And I hope I get to interview you in another year or two and find out what you've been up to in the newest album. But best of luck on the new album, and shout out for everything you've done for the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.